Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and Pixar's Incredibles 2 has a new full trailer with lots of interesting clues hinting at the movie's plot, some subtle Pixar Easter eggs, and a creepy new villain to teach us the dangers of staring at screens for too long. Not this screen, though. Keep watching, please, I need attention. And what better way to keep your attention than to go through this trailer frame by frame to point out everything you missed? And as always, spoiler warning in case any of my predictions end up being too accurate. Let's get started.
Did you wash your hands? With soap? Did you dry them?
What? Is this all vegetables? Who wanted all vegetables?
I did.
Okay, the trailer opens with the Parr family at dinner, and right away notice Dash's shirt. Also Helen's shirt, Violet's shirt, and headband. These are the same exact outfits that they were wearing on the day of Dash's track race at the end of the first movie, which of course was interrupted by the arrival of the Underminer. So this movie is picking up right in the middle of that whole timeline, dealing with the immediate aftermath. Also notice this room. There's a bed right next to the dining table. Yeah, this appears to be some kind of cramped hotel room or studio apartment, probably wherever the Parrs had to stay in after their house was destroyed. And then the Chinese takeout carton includes a Pixar Easter egg reference to several past Pixar movies, including A Bug's Life, Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Ratatouille, and the family dinner scene in Inside Out, which actually, yeah, was a very similar scenario to what the Parrs are going through right here. Ooh, off to a good start with all these missables, so let's keep going.
So, are we going to talk about it?
What?
The elephant in the room.
What elephant?
Mom's new job.
Okay, here Violet brings up the new elephant in the room for Incredibles 2, Helen's new gig, which we get a glimpse of here. Helen has returned to her old classic Elastigirl costume, jumping after a helicopter. And if you look closely at the background, you can see this neon sign of a cowboy hat. Now, this is a Pixar movie, so this could be Woody's hat, right? Let's just call it Woody's hat. Also, another sign in the background says New Urbum Savings and Loan. New Urbum is the name of a new setting in this movie. And according to a Lego set that was released for this movie, yes, toys are apparently a news source that we use for these videos, the pilot of this helicopter could be the Screenslaver, the new villain who shows up later in this trailer. I'll talk more about this guy when we get there, so let's move on.
It's time to make some wrong things right. Help me bring supers back into the sunlight. We need to change people's perceptions about superheroes, and Elastigirl is our best play.
Better than me?
Okay, in this section we move on to Devtech headquarters and its leader, Winston Deavor, voiced by Bob Odenkirk. His pitch to bring back superheroes back into the sunlight definitely gives off that shady businessman vibe of Odenkirk's character Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Now, she doesn't show up in this trailer, but Winston's sister is Evelyn Deavor. She's being voiced by Catherine Keener. And it doesn't take a genius to spot the Tom Riddle-style wordplay in the character name, Eve Lint Eater. Oh my god, all this time. Or more likely, Evil Endeavor. So I think we can expect the Deavors siblings to be behind the villainy of this movie, but more on that later. We see some shots of the Incredibles and Frozone in action, saving the city from that Underminer attack, but then look at the screen behind Winston. It looks like the family gets arrested after those efforts. Thus, Winston's pitch to restore their public trust, with Elastigirl, not Mr. Incredible, as the poster hero of that new campaign. Little detail I liked here, notice how the new comic book panel style images of the three of them are depictions of past battles. Frozone gliding on an ice path while fighting the Omnitroid. Mr. Incredible lifting a car, like when he threw the car at Syndrome's jet. And Elastigirl fighting an armed robber on a rooftop, like when she knocked out the armed thief in the opening scene. Let's move on to the next clip.
Whoa! I like Mom's new job!
Bye, sweetie.
I'll watch the kids, no problem.
That's not the way you're supposed to do it, Dad. They want us to do it this way.
I don't know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math.
Okay,
Math
Dad.
is math.
Okay, in this clip, the family arrives at their fancy new Devtech bot home. And if you look closely, you can see the Frank Lloyd Wright style waterfall. Elastigirl drives her motorcycle out from behind that. And we get a look at what Bob's life is like now as the stay-at-home dad helping Dash with his new math homework. New math is a term for a scrapped progressive approach to math education in the 50s, but Bob's whole frustration here is probably very relatable to parents trying to make sense of their kids' Common Core math standards. Now, looking at the equation on the textbook there, to me, it looks like the basic algebraic steps that I learned in middle school. I don't know, maybe they changed it since then. Solve for x by balancing the sides of the equation, and I have ADD, so x equals, ooh, look at the shapes. Speaking of distractions, check out the TV behind Dash. The screen is flickering in the spiral pattern. This looks kind of like Screenslaver's hypnotic signal interference that we see later in the trailer. Maybe Dash's big dumb head blocking the screen is the only reason the signal isn't hypnotizing Bob here. Let me know what you think, but let's move on.
Hello?
Hey, honey. How are the kids?
Everything's great.
Is she having adolescence?
And Jack?
He's in excellent health.
Okay, next during Bob's phone call with Helen, check out the intercom on the wall. The Devtech name and logo appear on that. Now, it's not surprising that Devtech money paid for this whole house, but the fact that they actually put in the microphone devices is a little unsettling. Winston and Evelyn could be listening in on all their conversations. And yeah, Bob is way in over his head with the kids, evidenced by this teenage angsty freakout by Violet. And another little detail I liked here, Dash has a huge stack of waffles, just like that big plate of egg rolls in the first clip. Dash loves loading up on carbs. This is a detail pulled from another famous speedster, the Flash, whom Dash is definitely inspired by. The Flash has to consume a ton of food since, yeah, he burns through so much energy from running so fast. Let's move on to the next clip.
Whoa, what the?
Num num cookie.
Oh my God.
Cookie.
Wow, gay. That is freaky.
You know it's crazy, right? To help my family, I gotta leave it. To fix the law, I gotta break it.
You've got to, so our kids can have that choice.
Thank you, young man.
Here, Bob's struggles continue as baby Jack teleports around the house. I love the shot of the sleep-deprived Bob almost snoozing with his eyes open as Jack gnaws on the cookie. Meanwhile, Helen lives the superhero life Bob got to live in the first movie. After some shots of her in the Underminer battle, there's another sequence of her chasing this runaway train. If you look closely and slow it down as she crashes through the building, she uses her body's elasticity to absorb the shock of the landing. Very cool. Let's move on.
Combustion imminent? What does that mean? Ah!
It means fire, Robert.
Okay, this section contains one of the most interesting shots of this trailer, with Dash running with Jack through a series of portals in their new home. Oh, what is going on here? This could be connected to Jack's teleportation powers, or it's also possible that this could be the work of Void, a new character who's gonna be in this movie. Void is a wannabe super, a fan of Elastigirl, kind of like what Buddy/Syndrome was to Mr. Incredible. Her power is that she can create voids that allow objects to appear and disappear. Whatever the source of these portals are, they operate very similarly to the Portal game series, where you can look through the portal to see yourself entering it from the other angle. Also, as Portal players know, you can line up portals to build up speed and momentum. Maybe Dash is doing that here, though he's already a speedster. I don't know why he would need to do that. There's also a quick shot of Violet using a force field to protect the family. Kind of looks like they could be inside the machinery of the Underminer's drill as it explodes around them. And then briefly, you could see Dash, Violet, and Jack behind the wheel of this car, but look at the shot closely. The car has what looks like a big chunk of ice on the hood, and as it takes off, pieces of ice burst off of it. Perhaps Frozone froze this car to keep the kids from taking it out on a joyride. Didn't really work. Next, Violet shows off a new interesting form of her powers, generating these laser discs and flinging them to sever a piece of falling debris to save some people. Really, of everyone of the family, Violet appears to have the most interesting dimensions to her abilities. I'm really curious to see where else they go with it. And then a quick cameo by Edna Mode. Her previous custom suit for Jack had just covered the basics because, they didn't really know what his powers were. But now it appears Bob is trying to widen that coverage. That includes this baby monitor tablet device that tracks when combustion is imminent. But let's move on to this last section.
The Screenslaver interrupts this program for an important announcement.
Suit up, it might get weird.
I'll be there ASAP.
Where you going ASAP? You better be back ASAP.
Okay, here we meet the villain, the Screenslaver, who uses hypnotism and subliminal messages for mind control. Notice how Elastigirl is covering her eyes, preventing that from affecting her mind. Now, using mass communication for brainwashing might seem a bit cliche to us now, but remember, The Incredibles is set in the 60s era, when the effect of TV, propaganda, and advertising on our minds first began to be criticized and worried about, which obviously was just a lot of fuss over nothing. Ooh, look, more shapes! Now, the identity of the Screenslaver is a mystery. To me, his voice actually sounds a lot like James Spader, though maybe my ears are just mixing him up with Ultron. Now, if you look closely at the shape of his head, though, it does appear to match up with Winston Deavor's, just saying. Or maybe since we haven't seen Evelyn yet, this could be a big fake out with the sister behind the mask. Oh, sounds like an Eve lint eater to me. This final bit with Frozone and his wife is a callback to one of my favorite jokes of the first movie.
Honey!
What?
Where's my super suit?
What?
Where is my super suit?
Comment down below with your favorite part of this trailer, or tweet me directly at Erik Voss, and follow New Rockstars on Twitter for updates on our videos. Like and share this video, subscribe to New Rockstars for lots of great videos about Pixar movies. We did a deep breakdown of Coco and the Cars universe that you should definitely check out, as well as first looks at the Incredibles teaser that came out a couple months back, and teaser for Wreck-It Ralph too. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.